Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that your arms don't feel as strong as they used to? That climbing a flight of stairs leaves you more breathless than it did 10 years ago? That your legs feel heavier, your grip weaker, and your body just slower? If you answered yes, you are not imagining it. And you are absolutely not alone. Every single day, millions of people over the age of 60 wake up feeling like their body is betraying them. They work out, they try to eat right, and yet the muscle keeps disappearing. The strength they once had seems to fade a little more with each passing year. But here is what most people, and even many doctors, don't tell you. Muscle loss after 60 is not inevitable. It is not simply getting old, and it is absolutely not something you have to accept. In fact, emerging science is revealing something remarkable, something that has the power to change the way you age entirely. And it starts not in a gym, not in a pharmacy, not even in a supplement bottle. It starts in your kitchen. Today we're going to talk about 5 specific vegetables, backed by real science, that have been shown to help seniors over 60 rebuild muscle faster, fight the dangerous condition called sarcopenia, and reclaim the strength, energy, and independence that aging can steal away. Stay with me until the end, because the 5th vegetable on this list will genuinely surprise you. And it may be sitting in your kitchen right now, completely underused. Before we talk about the solution, we need to understand the problem, because this is bigger than most people realize. The condition is called sarcopenia. The word comes from Greek, sarco meaning flesh, and penia meaning loss. It literally means the loss of flesh, the gradual progressive disappearance of your muscle mass. And it begins earlier than you might think. Most people start losing muscle mass in their 30s. But after the age of 60, that process accelerates dramatically. Research published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia and Muscle shows that adults over 60 can lose anywhere from 3% to 8% of their muscle mass per decade. And after 70, that rate can double. Now, why does this matter so much? Because muscle is not just about how you look. Muscle is not about vanity. Muscle is survival tissue. Your muscles support every joint in your body. They protect your spine, your hips, your knees. They regulate your metabolism, help control blood sugar, support your immune system, and keep your balance, which for seniors is literally a life or death issue. Falls are the leading cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries in adults over 65. But there's something even more profound that the research is uncovering. Muscle tissue communicates with the rest of your body. When you have healthy, active muscle, it releases special proteins called myokines, chemical messengers that reduce inflammation, protect the brain, support heart health, and even fight cancer cells. In other words, losing muscle doesn't just make you weaker, it makes every system in your body more vulnerable. And the shocking truth? The World Health Organization estimates that sarcopenia affects more than 50 million people worldwide, and that number is rising fast as populations age. Yet most people have never even heard the word. The good news, and this is where it gets exciting, is that sarcopenia is not a one-way street. The right nutrition, combined with movement, can actually reverse it. Your muscles retain the ability to rebuild at any age. The biological pathways that create new muscle protein are still active in your 60s, 70s, and even 80s. You just need to give them the right fuel. Here's a question that stumps many people. If protein builds muscle, why can't you just eat more chicken and be done with it? The answer reveals something fascinating about aging biology. As we get older, our bodies become what scientists call anabolically resistant. That means the normal signals that used to trigger muscle protein synthesis, the process of building new muscle, become weaker. Your muscles don't respond to protein the same way they did when you were 30. On top of that, chronic low-grade inflammation, which increases naturally with age, actively breaks down muscle tissue. This is sometimes called inflammaging, and it's one of the most destructive forces in the aging body. So even if you're eating plenty of protein, if your body is inflamed, if your cells are under oxidative stress, and if the anabolic signaling pathways are weakened, that protein can't do its job. This is where vegetables come in, and this is where the science gets genuinely mind-blowing. The right vegetables don't just add nutrients, they work on the cellular level. They activate signaling pathways like mTOR, the master regulator of muscle protein synthesis. They suppress inflammatory molecules like NF-κB. They flood your cells with nitric oxide, which improves blood flow and oxygen delivery to muscle tissue. They provide leucine-boosting compounds that amplify the anabolic effect of the protein you're already eating. In short, these vegetables act like biological amplifiers, turning up the volume on your body's own muscle-building machinery. Let's meet them one by one. Vegetable number 1, broccoli. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, tell me something I don't know, I want you to hear why broccoli is on this list. Because it's probably not the reason you're expecting. Most people know broccoli is healthy. They know it has vitamin C, some fiber, maybe some calcium. But what most people don't know is that broccoli contains one of the most studied, most powerful anti-aging compounds in all of nutritional science. It's called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is not a vitamin. It's a sulfur-rich phytochemical that's released when you chew or chop broccoli, triggering a chemical reaction between two compounds in the plant, glucoraphanin and the enzyme myrosinase. And what sulforaphane does inside your body is extraordinary. First, it activates a protein called NRF2, often called the master regulator of antioxidant defense. When NRF2 is switched on, it tells your cells to produce their own antioxidant enzymes, compounds like glutathione and superoxide dismutase that neutralize the oxidative stress that destroys muscle fibers. Second, sulforaphane has powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Studies show it directly inhibits NF-κB, one of the key inflammatory signaling pathways that drives muscle breakdown in aging adults. Third, and this is the part that stunned researchers, broccoli contains compounds that appear to support mitochondrial function. Your mitochondria are the energy factories inside your cells. As we age, mitochondria become damaged and sluggish. Broccoli's phytochemicals help clean up damaged mitochondria through a process called mitophagy, essentially recycling cellular waste and replacing it with fresh, functional energy-producing machinery. The result? More energy available for muscle contraction and recovery. A study published in 2020 showed that older adults who consumed cruciferous vegetables, with broccoli at the top of the list, had significantly better muscle mass preservation and lower levels of inflammatory markers compared to those who rarely ate them. How to get the most out of broccoli? Don't overcook it. Steaming for 3 to 4 minutes preserves the most sulforaphane. Even better, eat some of it raw, chopped or grated, with a little olive oil and lemon. The chewing action itself triggers sulforaphane production. Aim for 3 to 4 servings per week, roughly 1 cup per serving. And if you want to dramatically boost sulforaphane content, add a pinch of broccoli. Ecdysterone, sometimes called spinach extract in the sports science world. Ecdysterone is a plant steroid, but before that word makes you nervous, understand that it works nothing like synthetic steroids. It works by binding to estrogen receptors in muscle tissue and activating the PI3K-ACT-mTOR pathway, one of the most critical signaling cascades for muscle protein synthesis. A 2019 study from Freie Universität Berlin found that participants who supplemented with Ecdysterone experienced significantly greater increases in muscle mass and strength compared to a placebo group, even without changes to their workout routine. The effect was strong enough that researchers began discussing whether it should be added to sports doping watch lists. And you don't need a supplement, you just need spinach. Spinach also delivers a powerful combination of magnesium, potassium, and vitamin K2, all of which are critically important for muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and bone health. Magnesium, in particular, is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including those that produce ATP, the energy currency of your cells. Deficiency in magnesium is incredibly common in people over 60, and it contributes to muscle weakness, cramping, and fatigue. How to eat more spinach. Raw spinach in salads preserves ecdysterone. Cooked spinach dramatically increases the bioavailability of iron and certain antioxidants. Aim for both. Alternate between raw and lightly sautéed. Try a daily spinach smoothie. Frozen spinach works perfectly and is just as nutritious as fresh. Or add a handful to scrambled eggs every morning. Your muscles will thank you. Vegetable number 3, beets. If there is one vegetable that has genuinely shocked exercise scientists over the past decade, it is the humble beet. Professional athletes have been quietly adding beet juice to their training routines for years, and the reason isn't some fad or placebo effect. It's deeply rooted in physiology. But what works for athletes works even better for older adults trying to rebuild muscle because the mechanisms beets target are exactly the ones most disrupted by aging. Let's talk about inflammation first. Beets contain a class of pigments called Betalains, the compounds that give beets their intense red-purple color. Betalains are among the most potent natural anti-inflammatory agents ever studied. Remember inflammaging, the chronic low-grade inflammation that accelerates muscle breakdown after 60? Betalains directly suppress the same NF-κB inflammatory pathway we discussed earlier. They also reduce circulating levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, and interleukin-6, IL-6, two of the primary markers of systemic inflammation that destroy muscle tissue. A 2021 clinical study found that older adults who consumed beet extract daily for 30 days showed a measurable reduction in inflammatory biomarkers and a notable improvement in muscle recovery time after exercise. But beets are also extraordinarily rich in dietary nitrates, even more so than spinach. That same nitrate to nitric oxide conversion happens, dramatically improving blood flow to muscle tissue. Here's what makes beets particularly powerful for seniors. As we age, our blood vessels stiffen and our natural nitric oxide production declines. Beet-derived nitrates essentially bypass this age-related deficiency and restore youthful levels of nitric oxide activity in the vascular system. In practical terms, muscles that were receiving sluggish blood flow and therefore getting inadequate oxygen and nutrients suddenly start receiving what they need to repair and grow. One landmark study from 2012 published in the Journal of Applied Physiology showed that beet juice supplementation improved exercise performance in older adults by 12% to 16%, a staggering improvement for something as simple as a vegetable. Beets also contain betaine, also called trimethylglycine, which protects cells from environmental stress and supports liver function, critical for detoxification and the processing of proteins your muscles need. How to use beets. Roasted beets are delicious and easy. Beet juice, especially consumed 2 to 3 hours before exercise, has been shown to maximize the nitric oxide effect. You can also grate raw beets into salads, add them to smoothies with apple and ginger, or pickle them as a convenient snack. Aim for 3 servings per week. If you find whole beets intimidating, beet powder is a convenient alternative that preserves most of the active compounds. One tip, don't be alarmed by pink urine after eating beets. It's completely harmless and is actually called beeturia. It's a sign your digestive system is responding to those powerful pigments. Vegetable number 4, edamame, and the case for plant protein. Now, some of you may be thinking of corn based on the timestamp, but I want to make a case for edamame here because when it comes to energy, endurance, and muscle building for seniors, edamame is in a category of its own among vegetables. Edamame young green soybeans, is one of the only plant foods that contains complete protein. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids, including the critical branched chain amino acids that are the direct building blocks of muscle tissue. For seniors dealing with anabolic resistance, getting leucine, the amino acid that most powerfully triggers muscle protein synthesis, from whole food sources is enormously valuable. Half a cup of edamame delivers approximately 9 grams of complete protein, along with fiber, healthy fats, and a spectrum of micronutrients. But protein is only part of the story. Edamame is exceptionally rich in vitamin K2, folate, and iron, nutrients that support the cardiovascular system's ability to deliver oxygen to working muscles. It also contains isoflavones, plant compounds that have been shown in multiple studies to reduce muscle inflammation and improve muscle fiber recovery after exercise. A study published in Clinical Nutrition found that older women who consumed soy isoflavones regularly had significantly better preservation of muscle mass and physical performance compared to those who did not, independent of their exercise habits. For the energy and endurance angle, we should also acknowledge sweet corn, particularly for its role in sustained energy production. Corn provides complex carbohydrates that fuel muscle activity. Contrary to the fear many people have developed around carbohydrates, muscles need glycogen, stored carbohydrate, to function, contract, and recover. For seniors who are active or trying to become more active, adequate carbohydrate intake is not optional. It is essential. Corn also contains lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids that protect mitochondrial function and reduce oxidative damage in muscle cells. It provides thiamine, vitamin B1, and niacin, vitamin B3, both critical for energy metabolism and the conversion of food into usable cellular fuel. How to include these in your diet? Edamame can be steamed from frozen in minutes. Muscle protein. In other words, garlic helps your body hold on to its muscle by slowing the processes that destroy it. Third, and this is the area that Dr. William Lee has highlighted in his research, garlic is a potent angiogenesis supporter. Angiogenesis refers to the formation of new blood vessels. Healthy muscle tissue is densely vascularized. It's threaded through with tiny capillaries that deliver oxygen and nutrients. As we age, microvascular health declines and muscles receive less blood flow. Garlic compounds support the maintenance and formation of these tiny blood vessels, essentially improving the delivery infrastructure that feeds your muscles. Fourth, garlic has been shown to significantly boost testosterone levels, even in older men, by reducing cortisol, the stress hormone that competes with testosterone and promotes muscle breakdown. A study by Beets et al. Showed that garlic's sulfur compounds directly stimulated testosterone production, with effects measurable within weeks of consistent consumption. Fifth, garlic is rich in selenium, a trace mineral that supports the activity of glutathione peroxidase, your body's most powerful internal antioxidant enzyme. Muscle cells, which are subjected to enormous oxidative stress during contraction and recovery, depend on glutathione to protect their cellular machinery. How to use garlic effectively? The key is crushing or chopping and then waiting. When you crush garlic, you initiate the enzymatic reaction that produces allicin, but that reaction needs about 10 minutes to complete before you apply heat. Cooking garlic immediately after crushing destroys much of the allicin before it forms. Instead, crush or mince your garlic, let it sit for 10 minutes, then add it to your dish. This simple trick dramatically increases the allicin content you ultimately consume. Raw garlic, in dressings, dips like hummus, or even blended into smoothies, delivers the highest allicin content of all. Aim for 2 to 4 cloves per day. If social concerns are an issue, garlic supplements, particularly aged garlic extract, are an excellent alternative that delivers the benefits without the breath. Now that you know what these 5 vegetables can do, broccoli, spinach, beets, edamame, and garlic, let's talk about how to actually make them a daily reality, because knowledge without application is just interesting trivia. The muscle plate framework. Think of every meal as an opportunity to hit at least 2 of these 5 vegetables. You don't need to eat all 5 every day, though that would be ideal. Rotating them consistently throughout the week is what matters. A sample day might look like this: breakfast, a smoothie with a large handful of frozen spinach, half a banana for potassium, a tablespoon of beet powder or half a cup of beet juice, and your preferred protein source: Greek yogurt, protein powder, or a few tablespoons of hemp seeds. Add 2 crushed garlic cloves. Let them sit while you prepare the rest of your breakfast, then blend them in or swallow them whole if the taste is too strong. Lunch: a large salad built on baby spinach, add a half cup of shelled edamame, roasted beet slices, you can buy pre-cooked beets at most grocery stores, and top with a garlic lemon dressing made with olive oil, lemon juice, and a minced garlic clove. Dinner: lightly steamed or roasted broccoli as a side dish, season with olive oil, lemon zest, and a pinch of red pepper flakes. Add roasted garlic cloves directly into the dish. This is a brilliant way to get the cellular repair benefits of garlic without any pungency. One rule above all others: consistency beats perfection. Eating these vegetables 5 days a week for 3 months will do more for your muscle health than eating them perfectly for 2 weeks and then stopping. The biological processes that rebuild muscle tissue, the activation of satellite cells, the production of myosin and actin protein chains, the formation of new capillaries, these are slow and cumulative processes. Give them time, give them fuel, give them consistency. Pair with resistance exercise. No amount of dietary optimization will rebuild muscle without the stimulus that exercise provides. For seniors, this doesn't mean heavy weightlifting. Resistance bands, bodyweight exercises like squats and modified push-ups, or even swimming and yoga with resistance elements, all of these trigger the mTOR pathway and tell your body to invest resources in muscle tissue. Even 10 to 15 minutes of resistance exercise 3 times per week, combined with these vegetables, has been shown in clinical studies to produce measurable gains in muscle mass within 8 to 12 weeks. Stay hydrated and prioritize sleep. Muscle protein synthesis peaks during deep sleep. This is when your body actually builds the tissue. Dehydration reduces the efficiency of almost every cellular process involved in muscle repair. These 2 factors are often overlooked, but are just as important as the food on your plate. Before we close, I want to give you 5 final principles that will amplify everything we've talked about today. 1. Don't skip protein. These vegetables work best when combined with adequate protein intake. The current recommendation for adults over 60 is at least 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, significantly more than the standard recommendation for younger adults. Spread it across all meals because older muscles have a lower per meal capacity to process protein efficiently. 2. Get enough vitamin D. Vitamin D is not just for bones, it plays a critical role in muscle function. Vitamin D receptors are present in muscle tissue, and deficiency is strongly associated with muscle weakness and an increased risk of falls. Many seniors are significantly deficient. Ask your doctor to test your levels and consider supplementation if needed. 3. Watch your omega-3 intake. Fatty fish, flax seeds, and walnuts provide omega-3 fatty acids that dramatically reduce inflammatory signals in muscle tissue. Combining omega-3s with the anti-inflammatory vegetables on this list creates a powerful synergistic effect. 4. Manage stress consciously. Chronic psychological stress elevates cortisol, which is a muscle-wasting hormone. Walking in nature, mindfulness, social connection, adequate sleep, and, yes, a diet rich in the vegetables we've discussed all help lower cortisol and create a hormonal environment more supportive of muscle building. 5. Track your progress, not just by the scale. Muscle weighs more than fat. As you rebuild muscle, your weight may not change, or it may even increase slightly. Measure your progress by how you feel, how far you can walk, how easily you get up from a chair, how strong your grip is, and how much energy you have throughout the day. These are the real markers of success. Here's the truth I want you to walk away with today. Your body wants to be strong. Every single day, regardless of your age, your body is working to maintain and rebuild itself. Muscle tissue is constantly being broken down and rebuilt in a dynamic, never-ending cycle. The question is not whether your body is capable of building muscle. It absolutely is. The question is whether you're giving it what it needs to tip that balance toward growth rather than loss. The 5 vegetables we've discussed today, broccoli, spinach, beets, edamame, and garlic, are not miracle cures. They are not magic, but they are powerful, scientifically validated tools that, when used consistently and intentionally, can fundamentally shift the trajectory of how you age. They fight the inflammation that destroys your muscle